Oh. Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat. This is the weekly video games podcast where we give our impressions of the games that you can play today and react to the latest news from the wonderful world of video games. We are here every Monday on your favourite podcast app and YouTube, absolutely free. This week I am joined once again by the three-time Dimp Digital Gaming Quiz Champion. It's Tom Adkins, not Adcock. How's it going?
Going pretty good, actually.
You delayed us because you had a takeaway, and it's gone straight through you by the sounds of things.
Seems to be that the reoccurrence of this happening every week. I went to Donald's during the week, and that was a 20-minute.
Yeah.
It just goes and comes back out. So
it might be the time of night because let's be fair, we've actually been reasonably consistent. Sort of Sunday nights, same sort of time. Yeah. Maybe your bowels have just got to get a bit of nerves, like pre-podcast nerves. They think, "Cool, I need to get rid of some of this nervous energy," and that's the outcome. I don't think there's a better way to kick off a podcast and talk about someone's bowel movements, but please write in the comments if you've got a better idea.
Exactly. I'm a regular man. I'm in the morning. But no, the bowels have deceived me. So where I was late, but here, didn't know. I've had a steady rehab program this week. It's been pretty good. I've had a lovely weekend of staying. It's been an expensive fucking week, I'll tell you that.
Well, we'll get to all that because there's been some new tech that's been bought and some new games. Switch OLED, Metroid Dread, that's what's coming. Hands-on impressions of both, so we will get to that very, very shortly to figure out was it all worth it and what's been going on in that arena. But before we get to that, this was something that you mentioned, I think, off-air many, many moons ago, and said, maybe we could do like a little roundup of all the news for the week. I was like, we can't do all the news, but we could just pick a few small items. So that's what I've attempted to do here. This may never come back. It may be a disaster, but we'll give it a go. And there's also those parts where when we record it out of sync and do like 5 in a row, we haven't got any news because, we're recording it on one night. So don't expect this every week, but occasionally. So let's give this a go and then we'll get into the main impressions. We'll see how we get on, see what the fans think, see what the audience think. Mm-hmm. Just for the reference, those guys in India, they've been obviously our biggest sort of population geographically for the podcast. UK is fighting back. It's been almost neck and neck lately. So if you're in India, start spreading the word because you can't be beaten by these dirty UK clowns. You need to be on top of that. We still need to be the most popular Essex-based podcast in India. So that's the sort of accolades that we've got. Anyway, small news items. Rockstar has officially announced Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition. 2 the's in the title, so a bit concerning, whoever came up with that. Took this from Video Games Chronicle. In an update on its website, the company said the collection will be coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and the Rockstar Games launcher on PC this year, before hitting mobile devices in 2022. So that's worth keeping an eye on there. Quote, Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition, will feature across-the-board upgrades, including graphical improvements and modern gameplay enhancements for all 3 titles, while still maintaining the classic look and feel of the originals. We're extremely excited to share more about these groundbreaking titles in the coming weeks. Stay tuned. So I'll say one thing. When I saw the announcement or the reveal trailer they posted, the GTA 3 music hit and it sent a bit of a chill up my spine. I was like, cool, bit of nostalgia going on here.
There it goes.
And they do feel like, they've wrote in there to share more about these groundbreaking titles. They are really like, especially like GTA 3. Like that certainly was just like I just remember being
first one 3D, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was so amazed by that and sunk so many hours into it. They
Never finished it.
No, well, this is the thing. They were extremely difficult. That particular GTA 3 in particular was extremely difficult from my memory. I remember there was 2 missions in particular that got up my nose. One where you had to drive a bulletproof pickup truck, that Cougar, knock that around the old the map, and you had to drive into stalls, like other gang stalls. And it's fine because you're bulletproof, but as you drive around the city, you bump into other cars, and because you had to use your truck to break the stall, it took damage then. And there was hardly any room for like error. Like if you bumped 3 or 4 cars on the journey, your car would blow up. So that was always a nightmare one. And then the second part was like the final mission. Like that was just, I found that so difficult. I had to get a tank to help me. Like you could steal a tank. I mean, that's all just like amazing to think back on. I remember stealing the tank for the first time and being like just amazed driving around in that. But they definitely were big titles. Vice City was fantastic in terms of like atmosphere.
Yeah, that's the only one I completed out of all of them.
Yes, yeah, I can see that. Like they just hit the vibe of the 80s so well, and obviously Scarface influences and Carlito's Way. Like they're all huge influence in that game. But there is, as we were speaking about, the symptom of older games. I feel like in some spaces, especially for 3D. Is bad controls in comparison to 2021, and my worry is that they can't make these fun and not frustrating to play in 2021 and beyond. I mean, they've said there's going to be some control improvements, but what say you?
Well, they need to do something to up its ante. There's rumours that it's just PC port. You know, like you've got the highest settings on PC and it's just sort of bumping the graphics, which I hope's not the case. I hope they do add something a bit more into it. Bit like those that Mafia remake. That was a ground up job, wasn't it? Or did they... Right. So it doesn't sound like they're doing that. It just sounds like they're adding stuff. So I mean, I'm all for going through. Like I said, there's a couple of them I've never completed, like San Andreas. I played quite a lot of that, but never actually finished it. 3, I only probably scratched the surface of it. Really, it was such a young pup. I used to just fuck about on it, to be honest. Never actually played. Never used to complete games back then. But
no, I rarely did. But I did manage to complete all 3 of those. And Paper was the same. He never completed stuff. And back then, PS2. It's so weird to even say this out loud. I could play through the game, unlock the 3 islands, so you access the whole map, copy that save data and just give it to Paper, and then he would just... There was none of this PSN account trophy malarkey where you can't do that anymore for I think for any games really. You can't really share saves, can you? It's like completely locked down to your account. Back then, just bung my save file onto his, he would then have access to all the islands and he'd go off and be happy just messing around on it. So... all that was
credit.
Exactly.
But no, I'd like to revisit them because some of the games are wicked. Like Napa says, like San Andreas, that was such a good game. But even like it was adding mechanics where you had to eat and you, like do your weight. And
that's it. You could go to the gym.
Go to the gym. Yeah, it was brilliant. So it'd be good to see. But yeah, I think the big, like we'll go back to the Resident Evil remake, even though everyone goes. You know, they said it's such a good remake. The one that was on the GameCube, this is, but it still had those tank controls, which you know a lot of Resi fans do lick the dick of that. But
but then they're not good. That's again, I'm going back to these older games statement. There's a symptom that they had bad controls. Some of these, and that's a classic example of that. And I know people will disagree with that, but there's a reason why that doesn't exist in 2021 for the most part, outside of like some quirky fucking hipster that's trying to like go, oh look, we're reimagining it. Like you just don't have controls like that because they were crap. Everyone was still figuring stuff out. You know, how can we make this work on the tech?
Go back to the PS2 games and see how them cars handle. Blocks just going left and right.
I just imagine it to be clumsy trying to go back. And there's a rumor that I didn't tag it anywhere, but apparently they're looking at £70 being charged for the collection, so some people might think that's a bit higher. Or $70, it said. It didn't mention UK pounds, but we've been struck.
What's annoying is I'll obviously go for what's going to be the biggest and best. I'm hoping it's some sort of 4K.
Yeah.
But this will be the first time a Grand Theft Auto game will be available on Nintendo systems. The children's console is getting the most R-rated games of our generation.
There might be an exception. I could be wrong. Chinatown Wars. Was that a 3DS or a 2DS? I can't remember. But yeah, in terms of like the mainline ones, yeah. Because there's always rumours that GTA 5 might come to Switch, so maybe that'll pave the way for that. But
yeah, that would.
See how that looks on fucking OLED. But I'd like to see how these pan out. I absolutely would wait to see what improvements they've made just for the controls and whatnot, because I just feel like it's a very, very difficult ask, in all honesty. But we'll keep an eye on it and maybe report back. Second one. This is a big one. This is the gaming gods stinging our asses, because last week I was querying it. Paid XP boosts have been added to the Avengers game, despite promises this would never happen. I feel like this is a direct response to me querying it last week, saying, oh, it's weird they're only doing cosmetics. They're not even trying to gouge people. Like, it's like a halfway house. Like, surely you just go all hogs in. He's like, no, it's all cosmetics. A week later, Square Enix have said, we're going to be bunging that in there.
They've gone, right, stick it on Game Pass. We're earning shitloads off of that.
Yeah. And didn't they change the leveling for like newer players to make it a longer process? I mean,
it's a longer process now. So yeah, they've done that strategically.
Took a fucking bung off Phil as well whilst they're at it, so they've made a bit of bank there.
That was before the War of Wakanda DLC. Yeah. That must have been the Hulk girl, or whatever the fucking name is. I can't remember her name. Hawkeye girl. That it was, I think that was part of her. So yeah, they just made it so you can level up, I think, to something like 25, which is what you would be at the end of the story. And then after that, now it takes you like double as long to level up. So yeah, they've done this on purpose, and now they've chucked in. You're right, they've taken an absolute packet off of Phil and the gang, and they've gone, well, no one's really going to be buying it now, are they? Like the physical versions, so. Fuck it, let's stick an XP boost, really raking in the money.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't validate this, but Video Games Chronicle did say that Square Enix had previously said, quote, content purchasable with real money will be aesthetic only. That was obviously going back probably the very start of Avengers coming out, so someone's decided to try and cash in on that. I mean, it's already a almost terminally damaged game at this point, just from reception and just structure. This just adds to it. Strange. A response to Game Pass, people are speculating, like you may have mentioned earlier, is that the new future of games. It goes on Game Pass, but you get your fucking bollocks ripped off with monetization.
Yeah. I'll be interested to know. You never hear any of its concurrent players, because they ain't got any. You've got all these new worlds. You've got fucking billions playing.
New World topped the Steam charts again for the second week running, so that's still rolling on. And
but you never hear about Marvel.
Nah.
Concurrent players. How many? 10?
That's in the fucking bins.
So it's got to be their highest at the minute if it's on Xbox Game Pass. But disappointing. And even half their team's fucked off now, and they've gone to make the other one.
More money being handed out. Fuck me.
Yeah. Hand in pocket.
Final piece that I picked out. The final Smash Brothers Ultimate character is Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Cool. So that was officially announced. They set aside their own fucking reveal for that. I'm extremely happy that this is kind of finally happened, because I think for a lot of people it's a great moment for many gamers like me, because like we just no longer have to be subjected to this bullshit anymore. This Smash Brothers character speculation, the reveal, and then the wankathon that fucking comes out after that. It's like, it's been plaguing games coverage for 3 years now? Good riddance to bad rubbish, I say. And for the record, I like Smash, but I get so wound up about their Smash reveals. All their fucking trolling they do and all that shit. I'm like, I just have no connection to this. This is the last one, so I'm fucking happy. Good riddance.
It's apparently quite a crazy deal to be honest. Like they've done a, I think he talked about it after, didn't he? He said that they've done like some.
You think I watched this?
Yeah, true. Was this on the direct? Oh no.
No, they announced the direct. They're going to announce this. I'm like, fuck. I mean, how much fucking? Come on.
That is true. So yeah, so they they revealed the Sora and that, and then they said that they'd done like it must have been like a vote or poll back in 2000 and whatever it was, before the Switch was even a thing.
Yeah.
This is like 2000, must have been the last Smash game, which would have been Brawl, I guess, or Melee, I can't remember. But yeah, Sora topped that list apparently, and they've been ever since trying, because you've got fucking Square, you've got to tickle their bollocks, and Disney, you've got to give them a little fucking tickle. So it's been a fucking logistical nightmare in terms of legality.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got it, and these two fighter packs, I ain't bought them, but
no.
I mean, there's some cool characters in there, but I ain't spent. They're like £26 a bag.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, you get about, was it 6, 7 each?
Yeah. I'm surprised it's got to this stage, and they're saying this is it. Like it feels like something you just keep building and building and building, because after this, it's like they'll do updates, I'm sure, and like add bits of bits and pieces. But like in terms of like major content updates, this appears to be it. And I'm like, what are you playing the next one? So, like, what's going on here? I'm not going to. Who's going to want to restart all that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was watching a podcast the other day actually, talking about some like fucking Smash Prober, and she was saying like Nintendo typically only do one Smash per generation.
Yeah.
So it would be very strange for them to do another game, and they seem to have closed. What I'd like to see is that the geezer that does it, Sakurai, is it or something? Everyone's chopping his bollocks, aren't they? I'm thinking, thank you so much. Thank him. Hall, is right that there will be an absolute amiibo fest coming this way. But I don't think we'll get another Smash on Switch. Maybe Switch 2, which could potentially be around the corner.
Yeah.
Maybe they're starting to work on that, because that apparently that he's been doing this for 6 years or something now. He said like 3 years on the old game, and then literally went straight into this. So that's why he's like, I'm done. It'd be interesting for him to go, fuck it, I'm going to make a first-person shooter. I'll show you how to make one of those fuckers in Japanese. So yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting, but funny enough, I was playing that today and yesterday. Jump back on just to have a look what it looks like. Good fun. It's so hard. Like any like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, Tekken, I can jump in and I can just about remember the controls and can get through a couple of fights. That I'm like, cool. How do I jump again?
I'll just run around flicking the analog stick, just doing that. I mean, I did enjoy my time playing through the World of Light or whatever it was called, that mode, and played a little bit online, but not really a competitive multiplayer. So fighting's like it's just too much for me. That's big boy shit when you get to that phase. I leave that to the professionals. But at least I haven't got to be fucking subjected to this anymore. And we'll see what your future holds for Smash. But it's a good 3 years.
Just what they needed as well. Another anime character with a sword.
Yeah, Chris Reagan said another anime cunt with a sword. Lol. I was like, just what you need for that place. I mean, it's a ridiculous roster when you look at it now. Huge, but. That's the end of Smash Ultimate anyway for meaningful updates. Right, meat and potatoes time now. Little warm up there. Nintendo Switch OLED Model. I mean, first of all, that's a shit name, but what else do you call it?
OLED.
OLED.
I've seen a few Yanks have been saying that.
Yeah, they do OLED, but if you were to say an LED telly, you wouldn't say a LED. So they might be onto a point, but I've always said SNES and not SNES. So
you get that.
That's the other way round. So I'll always try and shorten it. So Adkins, as people who are watching the video, but the audio listeners, Adkins has gone out and purchased this thing. 310 UK pounds, is that correct?
309.99.
There you go, just shy under. I mean, first of all, I'm sure if I was more organised, I could just play the clip to you. But how do we get into this situation where you've just dropped 310 UK pounds on it? Because last week, 7 days ago, It weren't being tabled as a likely situation, and you come back and you crumbled. So let's get that out of the way, because there's people, who ain't happy.
This is becoming a regular thing here at Adkins HQ. Is my brain goes, right, I don't want that. That doesn't interest me. This has started since Deathloop. Looks alright. It's not really my sort of game. Not interested. And then, cool. What's that you say? 88, is it? Cool. I'll sign up. Bosh. So the fickleness comes in. The fickle Tom goes, cool. It's got good reviews. I'll have some. Thank you very much. Ta-ta. And then Kenner comes out. I was interested in that, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And then I thought, fuck it. I like that game. I bought that.
Yep.
I did Nintendo. Then the Switch was coming along, and I said ever since it was announced, I thought, that's cool, but it's not for me. I don't really play an handheld.
Yeah.
It's minimal upgrades. There's fuck all inside that's different. You know, you're a prat if you buy that, basically. Then, there we go. The fickleness climbs again, and these fucking YouTubers all start getting early copies. Don't know where. Dark web. Fucking God knows, selling their souls. But apparently a few retailers sent them out. My fucking left
Kidneys
bollock.
being fucking delivered, I reckon, for that sort of business.
Yeah. But the comparisons start. Oh, once you go on OLED, you can't go back. That dim old screen.
Yep.
And then Rodney's going, right, that's not good. Then, it's been a slow process, but young Albert...
Yes.
My fucking sprog he's started to worm his way onto that Switch, so I have to deal with him putting his mates all over that fucking OG fucking drift-ridden Switch I have. And then he's playing it every day at the minute now,
Right.
so I was like, right. I thought, well, Rodney's now saying he wants this.
Yep.
But it's not logical because it's not for me. It's for someone who ain't got a Switch who wants to jump in.
Yep.
Or it's for a commuter with their computer. It's a commuter that's playing handheld every day and don't be plugging it into TVs. It's for those.
Docked scum, they call them, if they put them
Dock scum. I am normally I'm about an 80-20 on docked, I reckon.
In Doc's favour, yeah?
In Doc's favour, yeah.
Doc.
That 20 is only when I go to the toilet every now and then. I don't really play much. Yeah, which would just be, and didn't take the Switch.
Oh, there you go.
And holidays. I think, well, I ain't actually gone on holiday with kids without taking some form of escape.
Yes.
So, so that happened. I was like, right. So I had a look and see the pre-orders were going on and off. You had one pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Not for yourself, but for a young Ogsworth, was it?
Oh, Dave Salmon, yeah, Ogsworth. He was gonna have that, and then he got his own version from, I think, AO.
That's it.
I was like, if you want this Adkins, let me know. If not, I'll cancel it. I got the nod to say bin it and not interested, and I was like, okay, dropped it.
And that was it. And I was like, right. For about 3 days, it was all when these Metroid reviews were coming out.
Wow.
It was, and I was like, right, I'm gonna bin it. No, I'm gonna keep it. No, I'll keep it. No, I want to bin it. No, there's no point. And for about 3 days, I was just tossing and turning. And I said to you, nah, bin it, fucking chuck it. And then once you chucked it, I was like, oh, I wanted that. All right. I'll tell you what I can do is I'll see it. I can see that Nintendo have got one in.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck.
Direct.
I was like, right. I ain't bought anything since last year. Anything big anyway. I was like, right. Fuck it, let's do it. So I bought it, and I was like, well, I don't even know if that's going to come up. Because I pre-ordered it on Monday. It came out Friday. I was like, well, if that's going to turn up, I'll be amazed.
Especially with Nintendo, it's like, can they actually deliver anything on... Like Amazon, like a big retail you'd expect, but Nintendo Direct, you're a bit like, wow.
Cool. And and then I kept... Well, once I start watching videos on things that obviously everyone has that recommendation. So whenever I go on YouTube now, all it is Nintendo comparisons and OLED reviews.
Yeah.
And just that. Just more than anything, it was like a fucking... I just wanted to see what this was like. They're all saying the same thing. pictures and screens don't make justice. You've got to see this screen to see the difference. And so I was a bit like, I just want to. Can I borrow one? So I'm right, fuck it, I'll just buy it. I thought, well, I can give the old one to Albert as is now. He can I'll get him a little case for it so he don't smash it. After he dropped it the other day, I was like, right, what's going on here? And I'll keep this little OLED to myself. And that was it. And then the Thursday night, and it was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it still hadn't been dispatched. I was like, right, well, this ain't happening, is it? So I got onto their little live chat, was chatting to them, and they're like, no, this is standard procedure for us. We'll just send it out soon. I was like, well, I spoke to you about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and you said the same thing. She was like, all right, give us a chance. And then 7 o'clock at night, I got a dispatch email. I was like, cool, how's that getting here tomorrow? And lo and behold, it absolutely turned up.
Was it a Royal Mail jobby or separate courier?
No, DPD.
Those boys and girls.
Here we have. It sits in the old case as well, which is handy because apparently it's a millimetre longer.
Yeah, because the screen is bigger, but I didn't know the actual guts of it were any bigger. And there's the reflections.
There. Oh, you can see us. But that filthy great big OLED, look at that.
Yep, kickstand as well.
Kickstand.
Proper one now.
There. Better one. Look, don't even.
No, you can fold it right up.
I'll tell you how committed to this OLED I am. Is the dock's still in there? I ain't even got it out.
Bloody hell!
I'm literally just going, but no, I tell you, like they all say, do it justice. You're never gonna be able to get, but I'll tell you what, it's absolutely gorgeous. It is.
Nice.
Yeah, you can't see shit on here, but it really does. What have I played so far? I've done a little YouTube video.
Yeah.
I had both of them on YouTube and was running a video just to see the thing. I played a little bit of Mario Kart.
Yeah.
A lot of Zelda last night. Smash, and then the big boy Metroid.
Big time.
And it really does. Like, as much as they all say it, here he is. Oh, she is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
sexist.
burn your bra. They really all do say that. That screen is ridiculous. And these videos don't do it justice, and it really does. Like, I know there's no enhancing, it's all just your brain, but just the way it makes the game, like even playing Breath of the Wild and just being able to see more clarity of like each little blade of grass and stuff. I was like, cool, it feels like a fucking upgrade, a next gen upgrade. It really does. I was even tempted to text you the other Friday and say, "Can I come round and show you this? I want you to see it. I want you to crumble as well."
I mean, it's been the actual, the reviews and impressions from other people have been really positive. So it's no doubt that it's a great bit of kit. What was the process? Was there any flap about getting all your saves and accounts tied back up? Because I know we've got cloud save with Nintendo Online. But was there any issues with that? Because that's one thing I was kind of worried about. If the Switch fucking Pro ever materialised, I was a bit like, right, am I going to lose saves or whatever?
Well, I'm halfway sort of through it. I've been trying to watch videos to see how you do it, but I was just logged into my account as usual, and it's come up with all my game times, which is kind of good. But now I played Smash, and it's fucking saying I'm playing it for the first time again. I've gone, right, where's my 35 hours gone?
Fuckers.
But all the other games are all okay.
Okay.
But there is a thing which there's a few downsides to this. This isn't all glory.
Hot take inbound.
You have primary account or primary switches that you have to set, and I don't know how to do it yet, so I've got to figure it out. So on the old one over there, that's set as my primary switch, so I can therefore play a game on that. But apparently, if I play this offline the good thing is most of my games are physical, so that won't matter. But if I play a digital game and I'm offline, it needs the internet to check that I'm allowed to play it, unless you set. So that's an issue. I'm gonna have to either change that to my primary for any digital game. So like with you, where yours are all, you would need to switch your entire account over to the new one, which it does seem to be pretty easy. Like you just have to have both of the switches. There's even a workaround if you do flog the Switch, like your old one.
Right.
So there's a workaround there, but yeah, you just literally, I think it does it through Bluetooth or just through the internet or whatever. It's pretty standard. The other downside is you got your little memory stick. You bought that little fucking micro SD.
yeah.
You cannot pull that out and shove that in a new Switch.
What do you mean?
Got to be formatted. That is
Oh, you lose everything on it.
Your Switch. You got to lose everything. You can.
Okay.
Someone said you can if you've got a dongle thing for it for a PC.
Right.
You could like sort of copy all the files, post them onto your computer, set up your new format it, and then set it up on your new Switch, and then just transfer the files in. That is the workaround. But other than that, if you've got all games on there and saves, unless you've got the upload business of getting them, if you ain't got online,
need that Switch online, that membership.
You've got to wipe it, format it, and start again in the fresh one. So that's a bit of a bugger. But yeah, it's been pretty good for no thing like these saves and that have worked pretty well because I'd stuck smashing. I was like, cool, where's all my characters gone? I was like, oh fuck, cool shit, you have to unlock them, didn't you?
Oh yeah, you do, yeah.
So yeah, just literally they all back up automatically on the old Switch. So just downloaded it from the cloud, bish bash bosh, and it went. Excellent. So it's been pretty good, but yeah, there is concerns now that if I do go away, which I am in a couple of next week, that I'll have to sort that out because I won't be able to play any games I have digitally.
Yeah.
Because it won't be my primary Switch. So there's a bit of faffing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, not too bad.
Well, there you go. What would you say to a human being who plays mostly docked? Is this just not even is it a zero proposition for them? Like, even if it's like maybe 10%, like, does it have to be a significant investment for handheld for it to really make any sense? I know we get the old Ethernet port and the sound's a little bit better out of the handheld mode and whatnot, but generally, it's a handheld.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're on 98% TV mode, it's probably not an upgrade for you, to be honest. It's probably not an upgrade for me. I just did it because I'm so rich.
All that Dimp money coming in.
All that Dimp money coming in. But
subscribe. Twitch.tv/Dimp Digital. Patreon.com/Dimp Digital. Make us richer.
Make us richer. But no, it's not really, because the reasons I made up in my head for this, because I have, like yourself, the OG Switch, is they made a version 2, they called it, which was, it came in a new box.
Yeah.
And it apparently had a slightly better battery, so you got like an extra couple of hours on it and stuff.
Sure.
So in my head, I thought, right, well, I want to start playing more handheld anyway, so I've got the screen benefit. But taking that away, I've now got a better battery, better speakers, a better kickstand if I want to.
Yep, that's the option.
And that's about, and this lovely white colour.
Yep, trying to copy that PlayStation 5, isn't they?
Yeah, really, it does sit nicely. I can't take my webcam over there, but when they're all in there, you've got the black and white consoles and the controllers and that, and it does sit in there quite nicely.
Phil left out in the cold with his all black console.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the Series S is white. That's the speaker, isn't it? Speaker box.
Yeah, the fucking big old McDonald's thing, isn't it? But yeah, so yeah, like I say, it's more for people that are primary handheld.
Yeah.
If you're a commuter and you're sitting on this thing, or someone like fucking Salmon who sits on his train all day places handheld, then yeah, I'd say it's a definite worthy. But if you're just getting this and sticking it in the dock, and you're never getting it back out again, then there is no difference whatsoever, to be honest. You don't even get reeking any of the benefits of the sound.
Yeah.
The only benefit you'll get is you ain't got to have an adapter for LAN. And
no.
I mean,
I
can't see people playing the Switch. Well, I suppose there's a few people that play it for competitive gaming, but I suppose if you want your downloads quicker,
yeah,
that'll help. But yeah, it's not the best upgrade in terms of thing, but the handheld, I must say, like, even you watch all these unboxing videos, and they all, like, say, I remember the original one It was like, cool, this screen, and it really is like I was expecting it to be good, but when you first turn it on, like in comparison to the old one, and you just go, cool. What is that? I thought I scratched it then. Yeah, there is. Yeah, it really does. It's just like night and day, and even though it's like like a fucking seventh of an inch or whatever it is, that's fucking better. It really does feel better and thing, and it just feels more premium and sturdier. The rails is better. There's a bit more weight to it, especially with that kickstand. It's just I don't know. It just feels like a premium upgrade. But it really is for the handheld boys only, really, and the rich and mighty.
So handheld only is what people are saying.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I say, I've not even got the dock out of its fucking bubble wrap. It's still in there because I'm training my brain to not stick it in and make it an unworthy purchase.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to be interested. I mean, my view on the Switch, I think we said this recently, was that I would have been not all in. I would have used it much more in handheld and sort of committed to it being a handheld device, which it clearly is, if they hadn't had that fucking blip where on Bowser's Fury it was only running at 30 compared to 60. And that's not at all a widespread issue. There may be less. No. That may be the only one that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But still, when I saw that, I was like, right, why are we making compromises for what is supposed to be like one of the big sort of aims of this device is to take it on handheld? So that put me off sort of going down the route of going, okay, I should think of it more as a handheld because we're getting frames per second cutting off. So that's what puts me off in terms of...
That's going to be the killer. Like,
if
I'm glad I've got... Well, that's it, yeah, with new games. What we got next? What's the big... Got anything big coming up on it?
That Pokemon Arceus.
That Pokemon, yeah.
That looks like arse anyway. I don't think even the OLED will save that.
That is true.
It won't.
I was glad to know that Metroid does run at 60 in handheld, but that could easily have been a little boost, like you say, like Bowser's Fury and 3D World, where it's 30 handheld, 60 in the dock. Then that's a real stinker. Yeah. But yeah, it's such a shame because like there's people tearing them to bits, which we've discussed off air as well, and. There's bloody 2.0 capabilities. They've upgraded the HDMI port, and they've done nothing with it. They've gone, there it is. It's ready for output, except from the Switch can't do it and the dock can't do it.
No, the speculation on that was either it's maybe a foreshadowing of a future device, or just that the chips and the sockets essentially were easy to get hold of in 2.0 form because of time and whatnot. Maybe, I don't know, but they've made a few strange changes because there was a bit of confusion or excitement, I guess, that this might have an upscaling hidden feature, but it turns out that that's not true. It's going to require a new Switch basically to take advantage of those new 2.0 HDMI ports, if you will. What is the question? It sounds like it's a fantastic device for the handheld crowd, which which is a big market for the Switch. It might even be the primary market, so it makes sense. But
I was surprised to like watching all these reviews of people getting it early, and the vast majority were all docked users.
Yeah,
I was like, cool. Maybe it's just my selected bubble that I've been picking, but there's more than you think. But yeah, like I say, I bet those, especially in Japan, I bet they seem to love a handheld over there.
That'll go down.
So I reckon you're right. I reckon it is majority. Be interested to get a stat. I don't know how they'd be able to.
I did do it a while ago, and I remember reading. I'll try and look it up if you go off on a tirade, but they definitely have published something like that, or someone has. I'll try and look it up in a moment. So two questions. How long do you think this will change your habits? Because clearly you don't want to use the dock because of the OLED nature of it. And historically, you said before it was 80% dock, 20% handheld. I mean, is this an indefinite change in habits, or will eventually you'll get neck ache one evening and think, right, I just want to bung this on? And this look, you got a 55-inch OLED sitting in that room, so it's OLEDs all round. It ain't going to look. Although some of the stuff blown up on these tellies from that Switch don't look very good, which is why I want. That's the concern.
That is the concern. And I like literally my TV is the other side of this little nook here. And so I sit relatively close to the telly as well. So yeah, it does make it look nicer being on a smaller screen, so it's not sort of stretching out the picture and pixelating it. You're seeing less, especially them jagged lines because of the smaller screen. I hope I do continue it for a while because I've got a lot of games. The trouble with it is that I'm so in and out with the Switch, much like yourself. I do tend to sort of have long periods of not even picking it up. I've got games in there and they're like cellophane wrapper still that I'm waiting to go through. I seem to have these like phases. It's normally when there is like a big direct or something and that gets me G'd up and I go back and I start having a couple of weeks on it. So it is, yeah. There's a few games I still want. Like I've got to go back to Rise. I've got to play some of that. So there's games that now I'm balls deep into Dread, so I want to get that finished. I want to go through Zelda again. So there's stuff to be played, and hopefully I will carry on, continue playing it. My trouble is that I don't do any commuting where I can sit and play it.
Where it's a necessity rather than an option. Yeah,
that's it. If I play that whilst I'm driving, there's going to be a lot of dead bodies in my way.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that, that's for sure.
No,
if you can help it.
So, if I'm travelling up to London twice a day or whatever, there and back, then that's a couple of hours I can just sit on the train. Not that I'd want to get that £310 bit of equipment out.
That put me off a few times. That's why I never took it. I don't think partly. My plan was to get a Switch Lite and use that as like the commuting thing, and then obviously COVID happened. Commuting's not happening as often as it did, so it's not really an issue at the moment. No. But yeah, it's also I just looked up and pulled up. This was published in 2018, so it's a little while ago. But Doug Bowser confirmed the split between docked and undocked play is about 50-50. So that was a few years ago. It may well have shifted in one direction or the other.
Yeah, be interesting.
So there's a few saddos out there that are playing it in handheld. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously good that it's changing your habits because you're getting the most out of it. So if you're going to, and that might be a bit of syndrome. It's like, well, I've got to use it in this mode.
This is the thing as well. Like, even with that, what's it called announcement, that GTA, if it's staying in there and it's docked, then there's no reason for me to get a game on Switch because, like, a third-party game.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, 2 seconds, the next console next to it is a centimetre away from it, can play that bigger and better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like FIFA, even though it's fucking a terrible version of the game.
2 out of 10, didn't it, from IGN?
Yeah, 2 out of 10. I think Open Critic is about 20%, possibly the lowest game ever on there. Terrible. But just that fact of being able to go upstairs and lay in your bed or have a shit or go around your mate's house and take it with you and just have a game of FIFA wherever you want, it sort of opens up that option again, and you start thinking, oh, okay, so even am I willing to lose the 4K aspect of it and the bells and whistles for being able to walk about and take it round and do that? So it opens up that again, but yes, it'd be interesting to see how long this lasts. Is it a phase again, which could possibly be?
We'll definitely revisit it and see how that's
going. But it really is like this. The screen is. I can't express how good it does look. It really is a night and day.
Even without the screen, like you could make a very strong argument that for most Switch games you're better off playing them in handheld because they just haven't looked that great when they've transitioned to it. Especially when you've got a TV like a big size TV like an OLED or a 40, 48, 55, 65. Like when things like that get blown up at 1080p, that's the max it outputs. It just doesn't look all that nice. And on the smaller screen, 720p, it feels like it fits. You're like, this is perfectly fine. It looks really good on this smaller screen. You add the benefits to an OLED on that, like the screen itself.
The colours. That's it. Like all these Nintendo titles, they love fucking vibrant colours, don't they? Fucking Kirby, bright pink ball. Zelda's just green, blue, everything. They're such vibrant looking games that the OLED technology lends itself to the first party games so well.
It's just so much sharper on such a smaller screen. Like it does definitely lend itself. We know it's got obviously power restraints in comparison to maybe even a PS4 and an Xbox One. Like it's up against those two, let alone PS5 and S series consoles. So it clearly is a good way to play. Whilst we're on that subject of power and other options. Here's my question. What are we going to do in 12 months' time when this 4K upscaling, DLSSing, all singing, all dancing, Super Switch Pro Max edition arrives? Are you going to, if it arrives within a year, what's going to happen in that Rodney brain? What's he going to do?
Cool.
He's under pressure then.
He is under pressure. And he'll say, "You're a fucking prat for buying that OLED. I told you it's worthless." Like, you didn't say that on the day before, did you cunt? But no, I'll buy that as well.
Then will Albert get the OLED?
Yeah, Albert will get the OLED. This is what Rodney's been doing. He's saying that this is a favour. This is a big favour for your son. He's giving your son your 4-year-old son now has his own console. I don't remember the age I got my first console.
No,
it was that Mega Master
Nothing
System.
towards that. Mine was always like a generation old. It was like a hand-me-down.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and it was my brother's.
Yeah, so, it was never. Yeah, absolutely not.
or the shared one. Yeah. So yeah, in my head, or in Rodney, with Rodney's brain, is that's the main reason why I bought this. Is it's give him the chance that now I'm playing Metroid. I'll be wanting to play that, so he can't play his game, and he goes fucking mental.
Yeah,
he tears the house down if he can't play his Mario one day. So yeah, it's basically giving him. So yeah, I will buy it if there's a 4K one out next month, and these dock updates and all these 2.0 fucking HDMI does indicate that we could be seeing something like that. So,
I mean, they've come out and denied it again, but who knows? Yeah. I mean, it might just be the next Switch. Who knows? I mean, my view is, because I've just not really enjoyed the handheld, is that something like that, something that doesn't need to be a PS5. I think people, when I say I want it to be upscaling to 4K, I just want it to look nice on a 4K screen. Like, it doesn't need to be native or anything like that. Just make it look nice and crisp.
My Lappers is did he re-buy one, or has he always had it in the locker and thing? I see he's been back, and again, his is young Owen's been introduced into the Nintendo life.
Dangerous. That's like crack for kids. Nintendo games.
It is. I'm gonna say the pair of them, mate. They're gonna be absolute. They'll be. We're training up the Dimp Young. This is our youth academy.
Succession planning, they call this. So this is like for them to take over the reins one day.
Okay, so if a new one comes out, I'll sell the OLED to Lappers, and then he can
cut price.
He's rebought the basic one for Owen, so Owen's now him and that Albert are the absolute Nintendo young'uns coming through.
Fucking nerds.
But yeah, no, I'll buy whatever they sell. So if they do I'll do a Switch. I'll be interested to see. Mind you, how many fucking 3DSs were there? They did like
a few, yeah. I mean, it's not some people. I mean, it may never happen, but if it does happen, it makes an interesting kind of conversation.
Crazy to think, like a couple of months. It's fucking 5 years, isn't it, since it's been out?
That's the thing. It's a fair old while, but
normally these cycles are what 6-7 years, are they? Or the Xbox and PlayStation seem to be. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, I'd like to say I've committed and put my fucking flag in the ground. But no, if they bring another one out in 12 months, I'll probably just buy that as well.
Drop like what if it came with an enhanced dock? But no new screen. Like it's old screen, no OLED screen, but the dock, you just plop it in there, and the dock would put it on that OLED and be like, this is fucking upscaled.
Yeah, that would be a tricky one. Someone said as well, which I think they could possibly do, doing a Switch Lite with an OLED screen.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
They were saying now they've done an OLED, which they can't go back now. Like they can't make another version.
No. Once you start doing stuff like that, it's like we keep saying about this 60 FPS. Now we've been sport for it at baseline consoles, because that's the baseline pretty much.
Yeah,
you can't be going back and putting this 30 FPS slot, but I'm sure that will happen. Well,
really have gone across the board, because I was watching footage of that Far Cry 6, and that's 60 FPS. We've never seen a 60 FPS Far Cry
not on console. No, the bottom line is being moved up, which is good for everyone, because it means they can focus on other things. OLED Switch there, so handheld recommendations. Maybe if it's your first Switch, also have a go at it. But the old model's got a price cutter in the UK, so if you do want to save a few pennies, That might be a way to go.
£50 more. This is.
Yep.
50 of your pounds, and you get the white. That's the other thing, is that the Joy-Cons are exactly the same.
Yeah, they might still drift
Not
one
even
day.
anything. Yeah, still that in there. So, yeah, it's not a great upgrade if you're like us from the first OG, or even just got a normal one. Or if you're a light user, really, I suppose that's not really a huge thing. I suppose you've got the Switch functionality, but no, it does definitely seem like a sort of gamers upgrade, just it's like that Pro, getting that Pro. I suppose if you were a PS4, unless you had the 4K telly at the time, and
Yeah,
that
I didn't actually at the
wasn't a
time,
great.
so that was a blower.
Did you not?
No,
No,
not when I
no,
first.
no.
I did eventually, like within 6 months, I got one, but not initially. So it's a very similar situation. You
Yeah,
need to have the tech or the situation to utilise it. Otherwise, it's money flushed. But we'll report back and see how well that's going in terms of handheld only. But they also done like a dual launch because we got Metroid Dread that came out Friday as well. It's been tabled as the last part of like the 5 game saga, which are all, I believe, is all the 2D ones, and then Prime, which is like a spin-off trilogy. So that's sort of separate, but still in the middle of the timeline. But we're not getting involved with that. Yeah. Before we get started on a bit of like Dread, what's history of this particular franchise? It's YouTube videos.
It's basically YouTube. It's one of those series. I don't think I ever had them on the NES or SNES. I don't think I did. But yeah, it's a series I've always known about and sort of looked at and gone, right, okay. I never really got. I had a SNES and a NES. But other than that, I had a Game Boy. But a lot of the games come out on Game Boy Advance, I think.
Yeah, GBA had a few of them.
That was it, and then they went on to games on the Wii, and
3DS had a few, or one at least.
Had a couple.
Remake, didn't it? I think.
That's right. So I haven't really dabbled with any of it, but like I say, it's only recently since when was it? Since that Prime 4 was announced.
Yeah.
That I sort of was like, cool, I really should get into this series because it looks really fun. I like the setting of it. I like the character of Samus.
Yeah.
And it really does have this sort of like huge following. It almost feels like a cult following because of how sort of niche the games are. But they've now sort of like, probably in the last 5 or 10 years, to be honest, has now created this genre of games, this Metroidvania, so they seem to call.
Well, I think these ones are just called Metroids.
The real Metroid.
They're just OG Metroids.
OG Metroid. So yeah, luckily on that Switch, you've got access to the original NES and SNES games.
Yep.
So literally only in the last couple of months, I started trying to play through them, and that first one is ridiculously hard. It's so hard. There's no map. There's no waypoints. You just go down in you end up in the bottom of a fucking planet. You got to work your way up to the surface.
Yeah.
Well, you've got that. It's like trying to dig to fucking Australia. You ain't getting. Without these waypoints. And apparently, I was watching a stream and people were saying like these games back then were made with the purpose of the consumer to be buying these fucking Nintendo magazines. So you'd have some sort of like fucking Nintendo Power, I think it was, the magazine.
Yeah.
And that would give you like a sort of guide as to how to get in and out
maps
there.
And yeah, have all sorts there.
But it's since, with the rise of the internet that people have been able to sort of share their progress, and there's guides and fucking quick fucking speed runs of it now, and people do it pisses easy. But yeah, they're so hard. I went and played 2. I played a fair few hours of 2, or Super Metroid as it was called, and that is it. That is basically that's it. And then I was like, right, well, this is the 5th entry in the 2D space. What am I missing here? So basically went through and was watching sort of lore videos of like the story so far, and watching bits and pieces of playthroughs. I haven't watched full, through walkthroughs because these games are like tens of hours long, really. So I don't want to sit there for that. But yeah, basically just getting the basics. But to be honest, this is the first Metroid game that I've gone balls deep in. From the OG release date, so I don't have a great history with it. But
how are we finding it then, as a newbie?
Good. It's very good. To be honest, I'm only about 4 hours in, I reckon, 3 or 4 hours, I think. I've been testing a lot of other games, so it hasn't had the laugh it should do. But no, it's good. It just feels like what I'd imagine really. Like it's like a modern day 2D side scrolling type game. But it has these sort of like it's the first time they've ever done it in their franchise. And you've probably seen from some of the trailers that they have like these big set pieces with bosses and stuff. You'll sort of be just running into a 2D thing, and then all of a sudden you get attacked by this fucking boss, and all
Yes.
these like 3D fucking Uncharted like script things start happening. You're like, oh, this looks badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been really good. It's quite like it's still fucking quite difficult navigating your way. I've been stuck multiple times. I'm purposely making sure I don't go onto guides and make it piss easy for myself because I quite like this sort of feeling of isolation that you get from these games where it's you are literally stuck in a fucking God knows what it's like a planet. You start off down the bottom of it. I think they're all sort of seem to be the same. You have this same sort of
You
start
end
where
up
you start off.
somewhere and you're fucking in the deep of it, and you got to try and
That's it.
get out.
You've got all these upgrades you start off with, and you go cool, and then you've lost a lot, and it's you go out, you find your way out, and then you go right. There's a door here. Well, I can't open that. And you go right, go all the way back again, and you go fucking find another thing, and then you go back to that, and you can find out you can do it now, and that is basically a Metroid game.
Yes.
But yeah, it's. I'm really enjoying it so far. The fucking music's great. It looks and plays incredible. Like it runs lovely. It runs at a solid 60 on that thing. Well, the cutscenes when it does go into those things do buff down to 30, but
Bloody
because it's quite
hell.
cinematic, it's not as huge as something like Kenna where you really notice it.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, I can see that they've really seemed to have like unofficially bundled this game with the OLED.
Yeah.
Because the vibrancy of like just the character, what you look like, the world, and then how dark and dingy some of the areas are. So you're seeing like the true blacks that you get out of at the OLED. But yeah, it's really good. The puzzle segments and stuff. It's really interesting. I really want to. I really want to get it done and finish it. Not like rush for it, but certainly like get more balls deep into it because I'm really just starting to scratch the surface of all like the mechanics. The Dread feature, which is quite fun. It's
that fuck that chases you.
Yeah. Basically, there's like they're like there's like so many of them. And they all sort of start to adapt to the things that you can do. So you're constantly like, oh, well, if I can, like the first one, you can polish it off and you go, oh, right, let's do it like that. It's fine. Then you get to the next one and you realize, oh, fuck, how I got away from that last one. That can now do that now. So you're like, fucking hell. But it reminds me of being chased by that Mr. X cunt.
Yeah, I did get those sort of vibes when I saw a lot of the gameplay demos, and I was like, I don't know if I fancy that in a Metroid game.
It's quite good in its terms that it's just a little segment, like it's just a room. You'll be running through the map, and all
it's
of a sudden
not
you have
constant
to go...
like hunting you down screen by screen by screen by screen. It's just certain, maybe like a couple of
just
screens.
Certain areas, and it's strategically placed where you have to go through it to get to the next area, so you can't skip them all together. But yeah, they're pretty good because you do get that sense of dread. You're like, right, oh, wicked, I'll go down here, right, and then you start to feel like you're making a bit of progress, and then you'll go, oh, fuck, there's one of those doors. Right, now I've got to fucking try and get through here. And it is quite fun. Like, once they start being able to chase you and stuff, they chase you through sound so they can hear you. And you've got like a little blip on your map. And it's a bit like Alien, which is a huge influence for these games anyway. But yeah, you've got that little fucking blip going off. And you've got that, you can see it chasing you around. And I was going to say, it is proper cock up ass when, when you are being chased. And it does give you that sense of dread.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a cool little mechanic, but yeah, I've got to say it's really good at the minute. I'm really having some fun with it, and like I say, the first time I've ever played one of these games. It's not one of these ones where I'm like, oh, fucking hate, like playing that. What was it called? Deathloop. That's the first ever time I've ever played one of these roguelike games. I've always thought they're going to bother me, those games, when I die and have to start back to the beginning, even though it's not technically the beginning. I can see that getting up my cunt because I've never had to do that before. And This is I've played a couple of Metroidvania games. I think something like Ori, that was a bit of one, wasn't it? But not a lot. I've not played a great deal of these. It is fun, and you do get lost a bit, so they can be frustrating. But I'm having a ruddy good time with it, and it's all positivity. Runs well, looks great, that shines on that OLED, and it's all round thumbs up. It definitely feels like a modernized version of like. It still has that. I can tell, even though I don't know a lot of the lore, but I can tell there's a lot in there for sort of previous fans.
I was going to ask about the story. Like, is the setup? I mean, as a newcomer, other than the sort of videos you've watched, do you think it does a good enough job? Bear in mind, they're saying it's like the fifth and final part of this arc of whatever that may be, or is it not really too noticeable?
It sets you up okay. It does give you a bit of a previously on,
right.
But I was expecting more, to be honest, to sort of get me up to date. It just sort of hands across what happened in the previous titles, like really briefly. It's not like an in-depth look. So I was expecting like a 5-minute video or something, but it's not. It's like a minute video of this happened, this happened, this happened.
Yeah.
This is where you are.
I think they've always been gameplay first games anyway, and their story has sort of been there, but not. Whilst it might be intriguing lore-wise, it's not been like huge cutscenes and character development. It's just.
Well, I think one of the games. I don't think it's one of these 5. It's called Other M. Have you seen that? It was on the Wii, and it's regarded as one of the worst ones. But to be honest, it looks like my type of game. It's like a third-person action game.
Yeah.
Like it was the first Metroid game to have like proper cutscenes and characters and voice acting. And the things I've seen of it, I get like Metal Gear 2 vibes from it. So I'm like, cool, get me that on Switch. So it's sort of.
They need to get this backlog of Metroids on that Switch, like by crook. But I don't know what they're playing at.
Well, there's a video I was watching on the build-up to this, previously, catching you up on it, and they were saying that this is probably one of the hardest franchise to actually go back and play because. The majority of these games are on. You can't either get unless you get the games off fucking eBay or whatever, or consoles that don't get used.
Yep.
One of the best consoles to play most of these games is the Wii U, the virtual console. So unless you're one of those poor cunts that bought one of them,
it's got most. I think it's got either all of them on there or most of them. Yeah. So I don't know why Nintendo don't just rescue these games off there and buy them. I mean, maybe that's what the Nintendo Online will be. It will end up being you get access to because we've got. The N64 coming at some point, and maybe they'll start adding like the 3DS and Wii U, and all the other stuff so that we can start playing. And if there's any on the Game Boy as well, like it's time to start looking after your back catalogue. Sony are just as bad as well. To be fair, they're fucking
that seems weird.
Stuck,
scared to cash
and they've got stuff stuck on that fucking PS3 still.
Yeah,
can't rescue it. Cell processor.
Cool. Why is that Metal Gear Solid 4 not had a fucking ground up remake?
Unless you have a PS3, you can't even begin to play that series. Fucking prats. Pull your fingers out and look after the old shit if you can't get it on. At least with fucking Phil, he just gone backwards compatibility all the way back to Xbox. And there you go, done. I know we haven't got any games, but if you do want to play them, back you go.
Well, that's good though. Like Halo, you get every single fucking Halo, all the lot. Wars, fucking Banjo, he's got all on there.
To be fair,
Phil is,
I was being facetious with that comment. He has got games.
But yes,
going to start dropping soon. Might be Halo. That could be the big one. Well, I'll call it there. I mean, I'll be looking forward to getting the final impressions of Dread as and when they are ready, and any other thoughts that you've got on the OLED as we get through it. But we'll call this particular episode to a close, I think. If you've made it this far into the podcast stream or YouTube video, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next Monday, same time and place. So subscribe if you haven't done so, and then you'll just get notified when the new episode drops. And as we mentioned earlier, support can be done at twitch.tv/Dimp Digital, which Mr. Pee-wee has just done. So we thank you for your sub. Or you can go to patreon.com/Dimp Digital and join the one and only tier that we have there, which is the core community. Anyway, nothing more for us to say here, though, other than thanks for your time and ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.